Your brain has no idea what the outside world looks like. Think about that for a second. Your brain is sealed inside your skull. It's completely dark in there. No light gets in. No sound. Nothing. Everything your brain knows about the world, the screen in front of you, the chair you're sitting in, the temperature of the room, it all arrives as electrical signals. Your brain just interprets those signals and builds a picture. Now here's where it gets interesting. The same thing happens with your own body. Your brain is constantly receiving signals from inside you, from your heart, your lungs, your gut, your blood vessels, and it's using all of that to build a picture of your internal state moment to moment all day long. That process has a name. It's called interoception. Interoception is basically your sixth sense, not in a mystical way, in a very real biological way. It's the sense that tells you when you're hungry, when you're full, when you're anxious before you even consciously realize it. It's why your chest feels tight when you're nervous. It's why a bad gut feeling is actually a thing. For a long time, scientists didn't pay much attention to this. The focus was always on the outward-facing senses. Vision, hearing, touch, those were the exciting ones. Interoception got lumped in with basic autonomic stuff, the background noise your body handles automatically. But in the last decade or so, that's changed dramatically. Researchers now think interoception is central to some of the most important things your brain does. Things like regulating your emotions, making decisions, maintaining your sense of self, even your mental health. Here's how the basic machinery works. Your body is full of sensors. There are stretch receptors in your lungs that fire when you take a breath, pressure sensors in your blood vessels, chemical sensors in your gut, mechanoreceptors near your heart. These sensors are constantly sending signals up through your nervous system, along what's called the vagus nerve and a few other pathways, all the way up into your brain. The signals land in a region called the insula. The insula sits tucked inside the folds of your cortex, and it acts like a central processing hub for all of this internal information. It integrates signals from across your body and generates what researchers sometimes call a body map. Constantly updating representation of what's happening inside you right now. But here's the part that really changes how you think about this. Your brain doesn't just passively receive these signals, it actively predicts them. There's a big idea in neuroscience right now called predictive processing. The basic claim is that your brain is always generating predictions about what's coming next, and then comparing those predictions to what actually arrives. The difference between the prediction and reality is what scientists call a prediction error, and the brain updates its model based on those errors. This happens with vision, it happens with sound, and it happens with your body's internal signals too. Your brain is constantly predicting your heartbeat, your breathing rate, your gut state, and when something doesn't match the prediction, that mismatch gets your attention. It might feel like anxiety, it might feel like pain. It might feel like that vague sense that something's off, even when you can't say what. This is why interoception is so tightly linked to emotion. Emotions aren't just happening in your head in some abstract way. They're deeply connected to what your body is doing. Your brain reads the state of your body and constructs an emotional experience from that. Rapid heartbeat, shallow breathing, tight chest. The brain synthesizes all of that into what we call fear or anxiety or excitement. And the connection runs the other way too. If your brain predicts that you're safe, it can actually dampen those internal signals, slow your heart rate, ease your breathing. That's part of why mindfulness and breathing exercises have measurable physiological effects. You're not just calming your mind, you're interrupting the prediction loop. Some people are much better at reading their own internal signals than others. Researchers can measure this. One simple test is having someone count their own heartbeats without touching their pulse, just by sensing it from inside. Some people are remarkably accurate, others are way off. And it turns out how good you are at this correlates with a lot of things. People with stronger interoceptive accuracy tend to have better emotional regulation. They report better decision-making. There's even a link to athletic performance. On the flip side, disrupted interoception shows up in a lot of conditions. Anxiety disorders, depression, eating disorders, PTSD, chronic pain, even some forms of autism. Researchers are now asking whether problems with interoception aren't just a symptom of these conditions, but actually part of what's driving them. That's a big shift, because if that's true, it opens up new ways of thinking about treatment. Instead of only targeting the mind, you target the body-brain feedback loop itself. Some researchers are already going there. There's work being done on vagus nerve stimulation, using electrical signals to tap into that major highway between body and brain. Early trials suggest it can affect mood, reduce inflammation, even help with treatment-resistant depression. It's not mainstream yet, but it's a serious area of research. There's also growing interest in how wearable technology might eventually help people tune into their interoceptive signals. Continuous heart rate data, breathing patterns, skin conductance. Right now that data mostly sits in an app, but some researchers think it could be used to give people real-time biofeedback, training the brain's predictive model in a more intentional way. And then there's the AI angle. As researchers build better computational models of how the brain processes internal body signals, Those models are feeding into new architectures for artificial intelligence. Some labs are experimenting with AI systems that have something like an internal state, a simulated body signal layer that influences how the system behaves. Whether that ever amounts to anything like genuine machine experience is a much bigger philosophical question, but the inspiration is coming directly from interoception research. What's striking about all of this is how long this sense flew under the radar. You can't point at it, you can't see it working. Most of the time you're not even aware of it, but it's running constantly in the background, shaping how you feel, how you think, and how you move through the world. Your brain is sealed in the dark, with no direct access to anything, and yet it builds a rich, coherent picture of your internal life from billions of tiny signals it's never directly observed. That's not a small feat. That might actually be one of the most remarkable things your body